Welcome back to the Hockey Hotbed, presented as always by the Hockey Podcast Network, as well as DraftKings. Make sure you use promo code THPN when you visit the DraftKings Sportsbook app for great odds and opportunities, especially at sign up. Again, promo code THPN at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's been a great show so far. I've enjoyed talking about Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov, Elias Pettersson, talking a little bit about the undefeated Carolina Hurricanes, and I will talk about them again because they are a part of my Power Rankings 2.0 for the 2021-22 NHL season, the November edition here of my Power Rankings. When I look at this list in full, there are a lot of NRs next to the team name because they were not ranked previously, and I just kind of figure that's because the last time I did it was before the season. Some teams not expected to be as bad as they were. Some teams I did not expect to be as good as they were. Hence, this list is the corrective list, basically where all my hopes from the preseason for certain teams were diminished and where some teams just surprisingly are that much better than I thought. So let's kick it off with number 10. Number 10, I'm going with the New York Rangers. There were a lot of high hopes for the Rags coming into the season. Obviously, the last couple of seasons, they've been one of the most entertaining teams in the NHL. They have a really good young core of players, including now Norris Trophy winner Adam Fox, who is continuing to prove that he is just that damn good at the game of hockey. Specifically, if I look at this team and why they have been so good this year, including a perfect road trip in Canada, 3-0-0 as part of a larger 4-0-0 road trip early in the season. If I look at that, the main reason for that is because of the play of their goaltender, Igor Shesterkin. He has been absolutely phenomenal for the New York Rangers this season so far. In his last 6 games, I believe in 5 of them, he has only given up 1 goal, and he has over a .930 save percentage in all of those performances. The only outlier, a game against the Calgary Flames over the weekend. So when I think about this team that I did not rank in my first edition of Power Rankings, I think about the fact that they had a lot of expectations to meet. So far, so good in the Big Apple. I think the Rangers have played extremely well. Again, a lot of it on the back of their stellar goaltending performance from Igor Shesterkin. Number 9. Number 9 is the Colorado Avalanche, down 7 spots from their inaugural spot at number 2, mainly because of the start they had to the season. Now, recently, they've gotten a lot better. 3 of the last 4 games they have won in very impressive fashion against some very good teams. The only loss in there is against the Vegas Golden Knights, where they fell 3-1. So, yes, they came off to a bad start to start the season, but also they did not have Nathan MacKinnon to start the season. He's still getting up to speed. They lost Gabe Landeskog for 2 games early in the season due to a suspension, and they're trying to integrate a new goaltender in Darcy Kemper. So they're starting to figure it out, which is why I did not want to bump them the whole way out, but I did bring them down to number 9 because that start was so appalling that they had to lose some spots, and some teams were just that hot to start the season. So number 9, I have the Colorado Avalanche, but still look out for them because they're heating up. Number 8, I have the Winnipeg Jets. They have fallen in these rankings, but only 2 spots. Now, the majority of the reason that they have fallen is because their defense that I was so hopeful for at the beginning of this season. I thought, you brought in Brendan Dillon, you brought in Nate Schmidt. I think there's time for Neil Pionk, Josh Morrissey. Those guys can take a step. No, it didn't work. This defense is still appalling. Connor Hellebuyck is still on an island on his own for the most part. But albeit still winning games. They're still winning games. They're still contending in these games because of Connor Hellebuyck, first and foremost. And secondly, because their offense is that damn good. I said when I did the first rankings, you need to watch out for Pierre-Luc Dubois this year. And so far, he is not disappointed. He has been absolutely stellar for the Winnipeg Jets. And that team in a division, and I've said it so many times on this episode, in a division where you have two teams that have not won a game, the Winnipeg Jets are in a very good position to be a top team in that division and to get into a postseason spot. I know it's early. I don't want to talk about postseason spots too much, but the Winnipeg Jets have impressed me with their offense and obviously Connor Hellebuyck, but their defense has been putrid. Number 7, a team that I didn't have ranked the first time around is the Washington Capitals, the team that's just a couple miles down the road from me. Why didn't I have them ranked? I had questions. Nick Backstrom's not going to be there to start the season. Who's going to play center for this team? Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek are decent goaltenders, but are they going to be able to take that step? Is this team that is one of the oldest teams in the NHL going to be able to get off on the right foot? Well, so far, all of those answers have been positive for the Washington Capitals. Obviously, it's not positive that Nick Backstrom is still injured. Obviously, it's not positive that they lost TJ Oshie to injury. But what is positive is Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek have been performing very well. This Washington Capitals team does not look old. And specifically, Alex Ovechkin does not look old. He's leading the league in goals once again to start. He already passed Marcel Dion. I said a couple weeks ago that Brett Hull does not have until Christmas until he is knocked down the list. I think I might need to change that answer to he does not have till Thanksgiving till he's knocked down the list, because Alex Ovechkin has been dominant so far this season. This team is the second best team right now as far as standings in the Metropolitan Division, a division that has been so solid overall. I already mentioned the Rangers in this top 10 list. The Capitals are also that damn good. They have not lost in regulation as of this recording. They do play the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. But the Washington Capitals are my 7th ranked team going into November. Number 6, I got to respect the St. Louis Blues. I did not think they had a good lineup. I did not think they had a good team. They have shut me up so far into the season. Jordan Binnington has been very good. Vladimir Tarasenko, I mean, it's the renaissance of Vladimir Tarasenko. We thought he wasn't even going to be on the Blues team, and now he is performing extremely well for them. Overall, this team has just been good. Pavel Buchnevich, good addition. Ryan O'Reilly, still performing. David Perron, still performing. And like I mentioned, Vladimir Tarasenko. Very nice to see him lighting the lamp, especially the way that he has. He scored some nasty goals. But I disrespected the St. Louis Blues, and now they're leading the Central Division. Maybe that's what they want. They want me to keep disrespecting them because that means good things for St. Louis, but I can't disrespect them that much. They've been good. They're my 6th ranked team. Number 5, the Calgary Flames, leading the Pacific Division right now. Previously not ranked by me. A lot of it on the hands of Jacob Markstrom, who is leading the league in goals saved above average. And is just overall, I mean, again, I don't do trophy trackers this early into the season, but if I did, Freddie Anderson and Jacob Markstrom head to head for the Vezina. That's what it is. Specifically, the last couple of games, Jacob Markstrom has been absolutely ridiculous between the pipes for the Calgary Flames. It's what they wanted last season when they signed him. You look at Johnny Gaudreau, got his first goal last Thursday against the Penguins. Matthew Tkachuk is looking pretty good. Sean Monahan looking pretty good. Andrew Mangiapane, a really, really good start to the season. Same with Elias Lindholm. This team is looking like the Calgary Flames that won the Pacific Division a couple years ago. Now, that's to start. Whether or not they can continue this, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, they're in the weakest division in the league. And that's with the Atlantic being, at least the bottom of the Atlantic being what it is. So the Calgary Flames are 5th. I wanted to put them 4th But I did not want to drop the Tampa Bay Lightning that far. The Tampa Bay Lightning have dropped 3 spots from my inaugural ranking where they were the leaders. They're my number 4 ranked team right now, and I know a lot of you might be saying, but they were bad to start the season. And they were. They were. You also have to think about the fact that Stanley Cup hangover. I'm invoking that on the Tampa Bay Lightning for their start. And also the fact that they lost Nikita Kucherov. And they had to adjust to playing without Kucherov because you have to play a different type of game. I know the game doesn't seem too different, but you have to adjust your game plan when a player like that goes out of the lineup for an extended period of time. The Lightning have adjusted. Again, they play the Capitals tonight, as I mentioned earlier. So this is before that. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, as of late, have started to heat back up, have started to look like, oh, they won the last 2 Stanley Cups. Yeah, they're that good. So yes, they dropped from their top spot, but I'm not going to drop them that far because they started to play better, and I'm sure that's going to continue. Once they figure stuff out, it's going to continue. Starts to seem like they're figuring it out. And Andrei Vasilevsky, once again, starting to figure it out after a bad start to the season. Number 4 is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 3, the Edmonton Oilers. Up 6 spots from the initial rankings. The Oilers, I still have questions about, but you know what? Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are that damn good. They are that good. The question to me, the only question that I had about Connor McDavid was his ridiculous, ungodly pace from last season due to being in the North Division? And the answer is no, he's just that good. He is just a cheat code. And he continues that. And Leon Draisaitl continues that. And they added Zach Hyman, who is putting in goals left and right. Jesse Puljujarvi playing well. They seem like they have started to figure it out. The one big question mark for me with them still is goaltending. Mikko Koskinen is going to get a larger load due to the injury of Mike Smith, and I'm not sure how long that dam's going to hold. I said the same exact thing when I ranked them at number 9 preseason, but the way that I have seen McDavid and Draisaitl play, matched with that division, matched with Zach Hyman, matched with Mikko Koskinen being better so far, I'm going to put them at number 6. Sorry, at number 3, up 6 spots from the last ranking. My number 2 team is the Carolina Hurricanes. It would be easy to put the last remaining undefeated team as the number 1 team. But looking at these 2 teams, I still have, I don't know if I want to trust Freddie Anderson quite yet. I know I talked about him early in this episode, and he has been ridiculous. Completely and utterly ridiculous. But when I look at the goaltending situations, Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta versus the team that's number 1, I'm going with the team that's number 1. Overall, which team is better? I mean, a 7-game series between these 2 teams, between the Carolina Hurricanes and my number 1, my new number 1, would be absolutely phenomenal. I would love nothing more than to see that. So the Carolina Hurricanes at number 2. I don't want to go into them too much more because, I talked about them earlier in the episode, being the last undefeated team in the NHL. 8-0-0. The number 1 team for my Hockey Hotbed Power Rankings 2.0, the November edition. The number 1 team is the Florida Panthers. They lost their head coach in Joel Quenneville for good reason. And they just kept on going. Even the game they lost, they performed pretty well. But I look at this team. Alexander Barkov is playing on a whole new level. He is still, I said that he's not underrated at the outset of this season. He is still vastly underrated because he is that much better than people are still giving him credit for. People are saying he's good now, but he's better than what they're saying still. He's improving. Jonathan Huberdeau, also really good start to the season. they have a lot of pieces down there that you wouldn't think, oh, this is going to be a top tier piece. Sam Bennett, scoring wise, is a top tier piece right now. Sam Reinhart hasn't gone off, but he's played well. Anthony Duclair, a great start to the season. And on the back end, Aaron Ekblad. Talk about a guy that's underrated. Came into the league as a top draft pick, was overrated for a while, had some bad seasons, but he is back. He had a really good season last year before the injury, and he's picking up where he left off. He's playing very well. So the Florida Panthers, which I previously ranked 7th, are my new number 1. And the main reason for it, like I said, if I look at Carolina's goaltending and I look at Florida's goaltending, I'm taking the Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky has been Vezina Sergei Bobrovsky so far this year. Did I see it coming? No. Does anybody ever? Not really. We know he has it in there, but eventually he just pops off and we're just left with our hands out, not understanding how he is still this good. And Spencer Knight behind him. Yeah, I would take Spencer Knight and Sergei Bobrovsky over Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta. So that is the list. New York Rangers at 10, Colorado Avalanche at 9, Winnipeg Jets at 8, Washington Capitals at 7, St. Louis Blues at 6, Calgary Flames at 5, Tampa Bay Lightning at 4, Edmonton Oilers at 3, Carolina Hurricanes at 2, and the Florida Panthers, my new number 1 ranked team for the month of November. That's going to do it for this episode of the Hockey Hotbed. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you really liked this episode and you really like the podcast, share it with your friends. Let them know. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. And please, please, please download the episode so I know where you're tuning in from. I love seeing the map light up all across the globe with the listeners here at the Hockey Hotbed. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Have a good week, hockey fans.